Hello, I'm Dr. Archer Crosley, and this is Real World Pediatrics. So today I wanted to talk about spanking. Okay, well, this is always a relevant issue in pediatrics. It's been relevant since I started pediatrics, and it's still relevant. So, does spanking work? Well, this is what Google AI says. No, spanking is generally considered ineffective and potentially harmful as a disciplinary tool. Research suggests that it can increase the risk of negative behavioral, cognitive, psychosocial, and emotional outcomes for children. Spanking has also been linked to higher rates of aggression, low self-esteem, and mental health problems. Now, is this what I think? Well, before I begin, here are some statistics on spanking. We'll put them up on the screen for you. In the United States, a significant portion of children experience spanking. Studies indicate that by age 3, roughly 54% of children have been spanked, and this number rises to 80% by kindergarten. While the overall prevalence of spanking has seen a downward trend, it remains a common disciplinary practice. So that you could say that the U.S. is a spanking nation. Okay, so let me tell you my personal story. When I was a kid, my father spanked the living hell out of me. I can't remember a day when I wasn't spanked. Now, that may have had something to do with my attention deficit disorder. I was always getting in trouble. Compounding that was the fact that my father was a World War II generation guy. And these guys didn't mess around. They came from the old world, and they had no comprehension of modern children, especially children who were being influenced by television. Now, there was no television when my dad was a kid. In their world, the rule was spare the rod and spoil the child. They were firm believers in discipline. They also believed that children should be seen and not heard, and they meant it. My father was constantly telling me to shut up. Now, that's the way their fathers brought them up, and that was damn well going to be the way they were going to bring their kids up. Now, there are a lot of good arguments to support their view. Something changed after World War II, however, to make us think about the way we discipline children. There was not much concept of time out when I was a kid. Sometimes they told you to go sit in the corner, but more often than not, we were spanked. Both my parents believed in that. I used to hide from my dad. I would hide under the bed so that he couldn't get at me. In the old days, the beds had bed springs that you could grab onto. I used to get under the bed and shift from side to side to escape him as he reached his hand under to grab me. He could never catch me though, and that made him even angrier. He was a crazy man when he got mad. I don't think that was a good thing in retrospect. I'm pretty sure that if my father had lived in the modern world, he would have been brought up on charges of child abuse. I don't think that a child should live in fear of his or her father that much. And if I had kids, I know for sure that I wouldn't treat them the way I was treated. Now, you may think that's a mistake, but that's the way I feel. At the same time, I recognize that children haven't developed the capabilities to reason as an adult. That's why we call them children. Children tend to think on a very primitive level. What they absolutely will understand is a firm slap on the butt. I'm pretty sure they're not going to understand a rational discourse on why they shouldn't take a particular course of action. So in summary, there's no easy answers here. I do think that parents should be permitted to discipline their children in the way they see fit, and they shouldn't be made to feel guilty about it. To me, the key is how far you are willing to go in either direction. Too much discipline or too severe discipline is going to do a lot of harm to your child, and so will not giving any discipline at all. My bias today is against spanking. I think kids can get the message in other ways. Nevertheless, let me tell you this one last story. Now, I was working up at some clinic somewhere in North Texas, and I was talking to this mom about her children's medical condition. So the kids were acting up, and as she was talking to me, she just very nonchalantly grabs one of the kids, puts him over her knee, and she starts wailing away like this. And as she's talking to me, she says, "I'm sorry, Dr. Crosley. I know that I'm not supposed to spank, but I've tried everything else and nothing works. I've tried time out and it don't work. This is the only thing that works." And then she puts the kid down without missing a beat. I mean, she did that like she was breathing, like it was part of her normal routine, like opening up a refrigerator and getting something to drink. She didn't lose a step. I thought that was pretty wild.